Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It's New Year's Eve. It is 10 a.m. here in Virginia, or about 10:19. I'm in the workshop this morning because I'm going to show you guys. Get that coffee poured there. We'll show you guys this morning how I design a tomahawk head. I'm going to show you two ways to do it, or tell you how to do it two different ways. I'm not going to forge this head this morning, but I'm going to show you. I'm preparing to. So you see a lot of people doing this stuff on the internet, and a lot of times they don't really show you how they've designed a head. And I just like to show that kind of stuff. I think it's beneficial to people who want to try it but don't really know how to go about designing it. Now, what I'm going to show you how to do is, if you don't have a blacksmith forge, guys, you can still make a tomahawk. You don't have to have a blacksmith forge to make a tomahawk. Of course, you got to have a grinder and plenty of grinding wheels and things like that. And I'm talking about one of these disc grinders and a regular old bench grinder. But anyway, if you do not have a forge to forge weld this stuff together, you can actually, guys, and I've done it before, you can just take your electric welder or get somebody else to do it for you. You can weld up your parts after you've got them designed and bend the way you want them to be bent. You can grind them down, and you really can't tell the difference, to be honest with you, whether that thing has been forged, welded or not. If your welds is good and you've welded deep enough and you've ground it down smooth, you can't tell the difference. And they will not fail, okay? I've got several of them trucking around all over the United States right now that have been. All right, you all. This right here is just is the simplest tomahawk head you can design. And if I had my tape measure here, I'd show you just exactly what that is, how big this is. It's very, very easy to do depending on the material, okay? So here's the axe head. It's 3 3/4 of an inch long. Across the face of it, it's 3 3/4 of an inch. So this is something that I designed my own self years ago to make tomahawks with. Now, you can do this. Let's just say you're not going to forge weld this period, okay? So let's go ahead and draw this out. Let's say that you're just going to take a welder and weld this up. All right, here's your blade. And here's something that, guys, that I've used before. This right here is a bushing. It's low carbon steel bushing. It's 1.5 inches deep. And it's 1 inch, it's got a 1 inch hole. Simply, if you want a fast tomahawk, simply design your blade and cut it out of the piece of metal that you're going to use, okay? Take this right here and weld it to it. There's one of the fastest tomahawks you can get your hands on, and believe it or not, they're very, very strong. Very, very strong, especially if you know how to weld, okay? Now that's one simple way of doing it, okay? All right. So here, let's say we're going to make this tomahawk, and we're going to fold it over on itself and weld it in the blacksmith forge, okay? Okay, here's what you do. Take this one. See how that looks like a double-bitted axe? All right, depending on what you're going to use. If you're going to use, guys, round stock for the hole, take that piece of round stock and add it to your pattern. Now, how you going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you the simple way to do it. You know that this material here has to wrap all the way around, and then this has to come down flat. Just like that right there. Now you know how much material you've got to have for that to go around there, okay? That's one way of doing it. All right, so what I'm going to use, you guys, is this right here. That's going to be the hole that the tomahawk eye, in other words. So I'm going to wrap this completely around here. We're going to come back to where the edge of that is. Now we know how much material that we have to have right here. We've got the blade. All right. You can see where we stopped. I hope this is making sense. All right, here's the eye, because when you wrap it around your whatever you're going to use for that particular thing, you have to have that metal distance. Otherwise, it won't come out right, okay? But once you learn to do this, that's 4 inches of material that you have to add to these two things to get your eye for this particular item right here. Now let's take us a straight edge. We'll draw us a line there. Draw us a line right there. Now we'll take the scissors. Cut that out. Let's go ahead and show that to you all. I know that's a little bit boring, but let's go ahead and show it. Now the good thing about this is, you guys, as you can see, what we've done right here, this pattern, that's what I want you to see. Actually, I've got it flopped the wrong direction. There you are. There's what I want you to see, okay? There's your pattern. Now, whether you're going to use a round eye, see how that lays down flat? That's what you're going for, because you're going to weld it from here to here, around here, depending on whether or not you're going to forge weld it or arc weld it. You're going to put you a piece of carbon steel in it or make it all out of carbon steel. Believe it or not, lots of them, guys, were not made in the old days out of carbon steel. They had no carbon in them. All right. See that? Now, what would you do right here? All right, you all, now, just for this particular purpose right here, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to draw this out onto a piece of 11 gauge pattern steel here. Being careful not to move it. I'm a little bit shaky. I'm getting a little bit old, you all. So there it is right there. So you either get somebody who has a plasma cutter, especially one of them CNC cutters. They can cut your patterns out. You can make dozens of them. Just you got to supply the material and pay for the gas. I'd say that would be what you'd have to do. Or you just take your grinder and you grind this out. You cut this out, okay? Now this is just a piece of soft 11 gauge material, y'all. This is just a target right there, okay? And that's how I design targets, man-sized targets. But let's say you just want to make a smaller hawk out of this. You can just cut this part of it down, okay? Cut it down this way equally. Do the same thing. But the main thing you want to do is you want to add this material to this to get your tomahawk to come out right and lay down correctly. That's how you do it. Now in another video, I'll show you just exactly how to do this right here, okay? Because I will cut it out. I'll find me a piece of material. I don't have any right handy. And I'm showing you this because lots of people don't have blacksmith forges, but they'd like to be able to make their own tomahawk, okay? So let me show you something right here. You can see I've already cut a piece of this off to make an item. But you can see that you can take that piece of material right there. If you wanted to shorten that hawk, the blade this direction, and make a mouse hawk out of it instead of a big hawk, you could do that. All right. That's just as simple as you can get. The main thing is, if you've got an old really thick good saw blade, and I like to use 1/4 of an inch, you guys, so that when you're done with the project, you've got a really stout hawk, okay? But there you go. Simple and easy to do. Now you've seen me do it, but here's one that my buddy Eric Philippi made. Okay? This was a round piece of steel before he started with it, all right? But he squared this up, then he hot punched this out. Then he hammered out his blade. Those are just you know, the way that a blacksmith can do it. But if you're not a blacksmith and you don't have a shop, You don't have to forge a tomahawk to get a tomahawk. You know, lots of these things that you get now, like that one I've got hanging up here, these things are drop forged. They come down, the pattern's already on it. Then it goes down the line hot, a machine comes down with a top die and a bottom die and cuts that out. That's all there is to it. Then I think they mill the eyes out of these things. But simply design it the way that you want it to be designed. If you don't have a blacksmith shop, fold it over, weld it up and grind it down. And you know, you can heat it up with a little torch just to get your eye the way you want the eye to be. You do not have to forge these things to make them, is what I'm saying. This is a no forge tomahawk pattern. It just takes a little bit of time to draw it up, think it out, then put it on paper, then put it on steel, cut it out, and do your thing. Pretty simple. With that, you all, I'm going to let you go. I thank you guys for the support this year. I really do. It's a blessing to me to still be on the internet trying to think up things to do after almost 16 or 17 years of doing this. It takes a while to figure out what to do now here on the old internet. But thank God I'm preaching on the internet on Sunday and Wednesday nights. But if you're in there tonight and you have time, at 11 o'clock tonight, the good Lord's willing, I will be live, and we will be praising the Lord up until midnight. And that's just what I'm going to do. With that, you all, may the good Lord bless you. Hope you have yourself a wonderful year. And thank you guys again for your support for this year. Have a great day.